So can you hear me all right?
I can. I
Okay,
just told
all right.
you.
Okay. All right. So so Victory will be coming up online, right?
I hope so. I'll send him a message again.
Okay. All right. So let me connect this microphone. Hold on. All right. So Herman, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So
you can hear me?
yeah, maybe we can sync. Okay.
Cool. So
So
I found out
how do you feel about yeah? Go ahead.
I found about the invoicing. So you basically need to, I'll give you the address to which you must invoice or make out on the invoice. And the important part is you must put all your bank details on it. And apparently also need some kind of a letter from the banks confirming your banking details or something like that.
Okay.
The other thing is that my departmental manager said it's better to do one invoice, do not do monthly invoices, but rather let's say invoice for for the rest of the year in one invoice.
Okay.
That causes less problems.
I see. Okay. That's admin issues. Okay.
Yes.
So you want to do maybe a 1 year invoice?
Well, what my suggestion is to do until the end of the year. So in other words, what do you call it? Until the end of December. Yes, yeah. Okay. And then, it's probably, 1 year is maybe going to be too big, but maybe do it in like, what do you call it? Quarters. That's right. Yeah.
Quarters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that'll probably be better. Yeah. So then there's only 4 invoices a year. Yeah. Cool, but I'll send you the address. I'll send you the address on Slack, and then apparently because you're from not international, it avoids a lot of the issues in terms of getting multiple quotations and stuff like that.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see. Yeah. So
we have this.
When you talk about address, do you mean that I should send it by a physical mail?
No. It's just on the.
Oh, the address. I see. The address.
Yes.
Okay. It
on the invoice, you must just
a PDF file. Okay.
Yes, but you must just put the university's address on it. That's all.
Okay. Sure. All right. Thanks. Yeah.
So yeah, finally sorted that out. Where is Victory?
So thanks. Okay. All right. So maybe text him on the Slack.
I did.
Okay. All right.
So you sent a message that you had a meeting this morning.
I think.
Victory said. Sorry, Victory sent us a message that he won't be able to make today's meeting because he has a meeting this morning. Okay. Okay. Sorry, my mistake.
Oh, okay.
I thought you said.
All right.
Sorry. Okay. Great.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So maybe we can think a bit about what's the current progress, right? And how are you feeling about the current state?
Okay. So
yeah.
From Victory's side, I mean, he now knows what I expect from him. I kind of expected him to have written more than 4 or 5 pages at the moment. It still feels to me that he should have written more at this stage. So that's one slight concern to me, especially if he wants to finish it in 2 years. He's going to have to write more in a shorter period of time. And I also want this to, finish. I want him to finish his proposal so that he can actually get started on the actual work of developing the simulator and developing the actual protocol, instead of just reading a bunch of stuff and not actually. I think he's in a bit of analysis paralysis at the moment, if you understand what I mean.
Okay, right. Yeah. Probably.
Yes. Yeah. So I also.
So Go ahead.
No.
Okay, I guess one question is, when does this proposal has to be like submitted? I mean, what would be the correct time frame?
Okay, so for him to be able to register as a PhD student for next year, he basically needs to have submitted a proposal basically by the end of the year. You know, but the final time for that, I would say, would be middle of January, because what needs to happen is a panel needs to review it, and then they have to make a recommendation if he can continue or not. And based on that, he can register for a PhD.
Okay, nice.
Doing it because he's doing it part-time, he can only register once he's got an approved PhD proposal. That's how our system works. If he was doing it full-time at the university, then he would have had a year in order to prepare the proposal and then submit it. But you basically only have like, if you do it that way around, you basically have about 9 months to get the whole thing started. But he basically needs to have the proposal ready by the end of the year, in my opinion. So that basically gives him about a month, maybe a month and a half to get it done.
I see. Okay, and what's still missing though? I mean, from what you can
well,
see.
So I think he so his related work and his discussion of the existing state is something which he needs to go into much more detail. I think the document he has at the moment is a very, what's the word? Is shallow the right word? It's not an in-depth, like, this is how the routing protocol works. You know, this is the issues that people are having. You know,
it's more like a survey,
identify
right? It's more like a survey.
Yeah, and then he started to I mean, now that he's got the goals written down, that what it is that he wants to do, but I think for the proposal he already needs to say, okay, but this is why we think this spatial routing is a good solution to the problem. You basically need to expand on that and to say, you know, this is the idea, this is why it will be a novel and a unique contribution. This is why we think it will be, you know, make a contribution to the field. So I think that's still the area which he needs to expand on. So typically for research proposals so what happens is the panel looks at it, and then there's also a faculty committee which looks at it. And my concern is with what he has at the moment, if he hands in like a 5-page thing, they're just going to say it's too short. You should, you know, it should be longer. You know, maybe 15 or 20 pages or something like that. You know, not a mini thesis, but at the moment, I think it's a bit short and it doesn't go into enough detail.
See. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I think it really does have a lot of things that's. I mean, obviously, I mean, I think both you and I, we have gone through the process, right? so I would definitely say, I mean, I can see 2 potential issues. One is in terms of the motivation, alignment of it, and the other would be, you know, because not knowing what to work on, like what would be like the key point, okay, to work on. And then also the third factor is the time, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the time. So, I mean, this is a direct relation with the amount of effort and time you put into it, right? Regardless of how smart you can make use of the time, you have to put in a certain amount of work. Which one of these 3 do you feel is right now the biggest problem? So the first one is motivation and, you know, like scales and techniques, and then the third is time. Yeah.
So the impression that I got from him is that he's motivated to do it, right? I'm not always certain of if he's sure about what the scope is, what's expected. Okay, so he is coming from what we call a University of Technology, which is sort of it's not a research university. It's more a occupational skills. Is that the right word? Yeah,
vocational, kind of a
vocational. Yeah. It's more focused on that. Yeah. Although they've been moving closer together, but anyway. So I think he's got the motivation, right? the skills, I mean, I saw his master's thesis and it looked well written to me, and it looked like there was, I mean, there was enough there for a master's thesis.
Okay, adequate work.
So
it's adequate
yeah,
work.
so from that point of view, I do think he's got the, you know, I think he has the skills to do it. Okay, or it might be that he hasn't had to work at the level that we're expecting before becoming from a vocational university. The one thing I'm completely unsure about is how much time is he actually spending on this, because he's not actually physically sitting here and working, which makes it more difficult. So
Okay,
yeah,
but,
so maybe.
but judging from output, would you say it could be a factor?
Yeah, well, if I look at what he's, you know, what he's sent us to read over the past couple of weeks / months, I mean, I don't think he's, from that, I would just say that he's probably not spending enough time on this. But he could also be reading a lot and not writing a lot. That's also a possibility.
Right. Okay, that's good. All right. So I think then probably that's the two areas I think we can best help on. Okay, in terms of the level that's required, and also like some of the, I guess, the technical work, and also maybe time management. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I think sometimes that might be an important issue. Yeah. But I guess my point is maybe in the next section we can diagnostic a bit, okay, in terms of what the current status is. Okay. All right. Okay. I do feel that you know, yeah, the same. I mean, Victor is quite motivated, but in terms of how to raise up the level of work, okay, I'm also thinking about environmental design. Okay, I mean, basically the concept is, you know, even if you have a goal, you want to like achieve something, you want to you know, finish your PhD work, you want to create some important work, but the environment actually plays but if you're relying on your own individual effort, you know, that usually will be quite hard, okay? Yeah, and not be able to achieve. So this is another factor I'm thinking about, is that how can we build a really you know, conductive and productive environment for victory, okay? And usually, you know, and this is why you know, a lot of the great researchers, they join fitness labs, right? Because in the lab, there's the atmosphere of work, of, you know, like intensive discussions. There's a culture, you know, there's an atmosphere, there's an attitude of focusing on, you know, producing great works, great results. And I somehow feel that, you know, that may be something we should think about, how we can design or get him into a kind of a conductive environment. Okay. In other words, once the environment is there, you know, you're basically pushed by the environment towards something. Okay. And there are many ways to do this, but I mean, just for example, like I myself, even though I've been doing, you know, startup entrepreneurship, but just very recently, I got our company into a part of an accelerator program. Okay. Yeah. So they have like 100-day program that's starting in mid-November, and there is a weekly, you know, session, right? That's 90 minutes long. So even, you know, we need that kind of environment, peers, you know, peer pressure, if you even, well, you know, to sort of push you. I think it's great you are setting up this, you know, twice a week sync and then mastermind. I mean, we're doing this with Victory and maybe with your students in the next semester. I think this is all very good and conductive in terms of environmental design and creating an environment, you know, that's kind of conductive and opposed, right? Yeah, so this is something I'd like to hear you, maybe your thoughts and feedbacks.
Yeah, so I think
the things you think we can put additionally, you know, into this.
So what I think specifically for what would help Victory as well is if he's actually embedded in a lab where he has to be there like 8 to 5 or, you know, whatever the times is that he's there. But he's actually amongst other PhD students and other postgraduate students. And then he sees, oh, wait, they're actually working the whole time and they're busy writing a paper and they're, you know, basically, because I think if you're on your own, as you said, and you just see your own pace, then you'll think, oh, I'm doing fine. But like in your accelerator, when you're amongst other startups and you see this other startup is just producing stuff the whole time, then you're like,
you should
get going. Yeah. They can do it, so we should be able to do it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, that is very constructive. And it's also like getting yourself into some kind of environment is crucial. Okay. So I mean, so is there something that might be workable for Victory in this situation?
Yeah,
he owns a job, right? He has a job that he has to attend to.
Yes, although I'm not sure if Itemba Labs is actually open at this stage, but what I am going to ask him, I think what I'm going to ask him is if he can actually come through to Stellenbosch maybe twice a week or something like that, or 3 times a week, and spend some time in our labs as well. So that he's there. He can do his stuff at the Itemba Labs, that's fine, but I do think it's important that he's in Stellenbosch as well amongst our students. And if you can do that sooner rather than later, I think that will help as well.
Okay, that's great. That's actually a good suggestion. In fact, I think the commuting and the change of environment, I think would also help. Like, actually, I can just share with you, I did most of my master thesis, you know, the bond work, actually on Subway, while I was commuting on Subway. You know, I just took a notebook out and started typing and writing. That was actually how my thesis was written. Okay.
Oh, wow.
During my Subway commute, yeah, my metro commute. So it wasn't.
I've been in your subways. That's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think changing environment that helps actually. Okay, so do that. Okay. I think I mean actually ask him to come. Okay, twice a week to go to the lab. Yeah. The other thing is, are there related, I guess, researchers groups that might have like regular, I don't know, seminars or
so
like, that could be related. Yeah.
Okay, so we have some. Okay, so this is slightly further away, but we do have I think it's a twice weekly. No. Every 2 weeks, that's right. Meetings, but that's more about machine learning. But what is interesting about that is someone gives a half an hour presentation about it. And sometimes they even get people from Google DeepMind and things like that. So I think what's good about something like that is it would basically show what people in industry and you know, sort of the leaders in the field is busy doing. Then there is, let me think. I do know there is people working on IoT, Internet of Things. I'm not sure if they have a group going, but we did recently appoint a new research chair in Internet of Things. It's actually a colleague of mine. We started the Media Lab. We founded it together about 12 years ago, and he's back at the university now. So I actually think I should ask him if he can't start up something like that to stimulate IoT research, and then I can get Victory hooked into that as well. That's actually a good idea.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that is something I think would help. Okay. Okay. So you're talking about maybe have some like a group meeting seminar related.
Yes,
topics,
like
right?
like once a week or
stimulations.
Twice. Yes, yeah. Now the students in the lab, they at some point had what they called these. I think they had weekly stand-ups as well. So they had 10 o'clock in the morning or something. They would actually. I don't think they did this every day. I think they did it like once a week or maybe twice a week. But then they basically had a So like, what were you working on for the past couple of days or past week? You know, what worked for you, what didn't work for you. So they had this kind of a self-organized motivational group, just the
Okay, just
students
among
among them.
students.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, all right. This is another thing I'm thinking about, and I guess I have to ask you if there's this possibility, which is can Victor be paired up with another student who might, work alongside with him?
I'm sure
At least some aspects.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we could do something like that.
The reason
Yeah.
why I ask is this is something called, the concept is called accountability partners. Okay. So essentially, by checking in with this other person, and obviously, if you are both working on the same topic, that's the best. Okay. But even if not, if you get into this habit of actually, I mean, the meeting bigger Apple Plus, this is the kind of a form of accountability. Okay, except that this is to the advisors. But I think in terms of the peers, if that's something that can be set up, okay, and also like regularly he has to share about his progress and his challenges, okay, and things like that. And that will be another way to sort of push and stimulate. Okay, I mean he's tracking. Is that something that I mean there might be suitable students or arrangement that can be made? You think?
I think so, yeah. I think there might be. Just trying to, it will have to be someone that's also working in either IoT or ad hoc routing or something like that. But I think
exactly. That's
but I
something
think,
related.
I mean, so there's either the students doing work in renewable energy where they also have some IoT, and then there's also students working on kind of smart utilities where they basically, what do you call it, metering schools and stuff like that, which could also be applicable. So it might not be students that's under my supervision, but it might be students that's under supervision of other, but I think that's good as well. Yeah, okay.
Okay, all right. So yeah, so I think those are some of the things if being put in place, you would potentially enhance Victoria's current progress. Yeah, basically having feedback, having interactions, stimulations. That's always better than working all by yourself.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, like the thinking genius.
So that's
arguably. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, it's just something interesting. So some of the feedback we've gotten from our final year students and our postgraduate students, I think ironically the young people are actually struggling more with the having to stay and work from home than us, who's older.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure why. I think maybe it's because we already have families and keep stuff that already gives us all the social interaction that we need, if the students are working alone in a room, and then when they get up, they walk to their desk and work, and their whole day is basically this one room with no interaction. The feedback I've gotten is that the students are struggling more with that than I actually would have expected or is experiencing myself. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Okay. But you were busy saying something else as well.
Oh no. So basically, I think the environment part of that would also be to actually work on something that's an implementation. Okay. This is something I'm thinking as a right now seems like the priority is on the proposal. Okay. I think that's. But in terms of the actual dissertation, I think the implementation aspect could be quite important in that, but obviously before that will come the design. Okay, but I have the sense that Victor is someone who's quite hands-on. you know.
Yes, me
Like
too. Yeah.
In a sense, he thinks with his hand, you know. That is, I mean, some people, I think he thinks with his hand. So like just very abstract things, you know, these concepts, he may not be able to work with them as well, you know. But if it becomes like actual implementation systems and all that, then I would actually expect him to become maybe a lot more productive than you know what he's so far being able to exhibit. Okay, so I think the other thing is you know try to get him to work on something that is very minimum. That is something that's already you know kind of already a prototype system that's working. And the thing I think that's the closest I can think of is really Migro's current implementation, the you know JavaScript Fast, right? But okay, so but to do this, probably a 1 or 2 sessions with Migro might be needed. Okay, very simply to I mean this is also our experience. If you just ask someone to study some code and try to set it up, you know, they could spend like quite some days. Okay, but if you have someone who has done that and just show the person, or you know, once they get stuck, they can get into contact with someone who's already experienced. That usually speeds up things quite a bit. Okay, so I think the I don't know. Should this be like the focus after the proposal, or maybe you think this is something we can do now?
No, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, because that will also give him more experience to Vast and what is the capabilities of Vast at the moment. So I think
I think
having
helps with the proposal as well, right? It helps with the proposal, right?
yes. So I think doing, and I think that will also help him. I think once the proposal is finished as well, I think if he has Vast, the Vast project to work on, hands-on, while he's also developing the spatial routing algorithm on paper, I think that'll also help him in, because what I'm envisioning is he'll be working on paper what the routing algorithm is, then he'll take that idea, he'll implement it in the Vast system that he has at the moment, see if it's working or not, and then go back, adjust his protocol. So he'll have this back and forth between the two.
Correct. Yeah.
Because I think if he's just going to be working on paper, he might also get stuck. It will try to design the ultimate algorithm, but then not be aware of the practical implications.
Exactly. Right. Good. I share the same views. Yes. I think it would be best for him to work if he has some implementation at hand and use that as a test bed while designing algorithm. Yeah. So, all right. Okay. Thanks. So I think that's a pretty concrete plan. I guess
yes, yeah.
Try to get him at least to come twice a week. Okay, physical presence. That's one. And I think get him maybe with a student accountability partner, you know, who can just check in with them on a weekly basis. You know, they can share progress. They can maybe have the same goal of finishing their degree thesis or proposal, you know, and within some time frame, or to submit a journal paper or conference paper. And the thirdly, I think to get him, you know, work on to run, just rerun his project, the best implementation as quickly as possible.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Okay.
I'll send you that details of the university address, and then you can prepare the invoice and send it to me. And then I'm not sure how long the processing of the international payments is going to take. So that's just, you know, it might take a week or two. I'm not sure. That's
okay. All right. Yeah. But don't worry. I mean, that'll take whatever time it needs.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool.
All right. So I guess talk to you on Thursday then. Okay. On Thursday. Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Okay.
So thanks.
You're well, Shin Yun.
All right. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.